I think you're going to love Dónal Finn's Matt Cauthon.
And when no one's looking, I am like, I'm spinning it around and flipping it over my head and stuff.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Hi, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
It's very nice to meet you and spend time with you.
Well, I'm super happy to be here. I'm a giant fan of Wheel of Time. I loved season 1. Can't wait to see what season 2 has in store for us. And I want to start this off by talking a little bit about the fandom around Wheel of Time, because there's such a passionate fan base. They care about this so deeply. And I'm curious, what's the response been like that you've noticed in the wake of season 1 as we head into season 2?
You know, what I love about the Wheel of Time fandom is that, you know, it's not just one character that everybody gets behind. You know, I've done other beloved books into film adaptations, but usually there's one character who's the one that everybody adores. And in the Wheel of Time, it's like a world where everybody has someone to identify with.
We're always blown away by the Wheel of Time fans. We think they're the absolute best. Yeah, I would debate that with anyone. The reception from season 1 was fantastic, not only amongst our fans, but the world. So we're excited to take everyone into season 2. And I know the fans are going to love season 2.
Marcus, what's been the response for you like after season 1? And Ceara and Dónal, what's it been like for you two to step into this world?
Yeah, I think season 1 was really interesting. I think it was kind of like, you know, this fandom has been waiting for this show kind of to be brought to life for such a long time. But I think once they kind of started to see Rafe and kind of how he kind of worked with Brandon Sanderson and kind of really understood, and he's loved the books for so long, they started to see, you know, what Rafe is going to do. And I think as soon as they saw that Rosamund was going to be sort of leading the line, they started to really trust it. And then I think the amazing thing is to kind of see the fans see the show and they start to see what's happening. And I think as we come into season 2, the characters are going to develop, and it's amazing how they're going to watch their journeys grow.
Yeah, I feel so lucky to be joining a show with such a dedicated fandom and an enthusiastic fan base. It's just a real joy. I was brought out at New York Comic Con last year, and they played an exclusive clip of my first scene as Elayne, and it was amazing to kind of hear the reactions in real time, and just even the kind of minute reactions to lines, and just those are the things that the fans pick up on, and it's just so special, and it makes all the hard work really feel worth it.
Yeah, I mean, very similarly, I think it gives a great sense of reward to us, that knowing just how, you know, passionate and committed the fans are to these books, and I think it kind of drives us to represent them as kind of wholeheartedly and as colourfully as we can, and drawing off of that source material that the fans love so much.
Well, I want to get into what season 2 has in store for Lan, because especially given with everything that's going on with Moiraine, what happened with Nynaeve in season 1, what are Lan's priorities as we enter into season 2?
Well, I mean, forgive me, because I'm going to have to be somewhat vague with terminology.
Of course.
So there's not all book fans that are reading or watching this stuff. So yeah, we know at the end of season 1, we're at the Eye of the World with the Shamael, and things have happened, and you know, it's kind of foreshadowing some pretty tough times to come, obviously. So season 2 picks us up where Lan and Moiraine the bond has been altered, I guess you could say, and we can't really feel her the way he used to be able to, and he's got some questions. She's being secretive, she's taking in visitors, and he doesn't know why, and he's frustrated. So he, as you do with any relationship that is like a marriage, he kind of lashes out emotionally. He, he kind of just is trying to get a reaction from her.
We find Moiraine in a very unfamiliar place in the beginning of season 2. We find her cut off from the One Power, which is obviously leaves her in a very vulnerable situation. And vulnerability is not a place in which Moiraine is happy living. She's having to come to terms with that while still knowing that she can't give up her fight. You know, she has made a commitment to find the Dragon Reborn. She has done that, although she currently is not with him. But she needs to prepare him to face the last battle, even as he is resisting that alliance. She knows that her partner, Siuan, is in partnership with her. It's their shared mission, but they can't speak of it to anyone. It has to be secret. They can't even acknowledge that they've found the dragon. There's an awful lot on her shoulders. And she doesn't have the One Power. We come to realize the woman that she is without the fireworks. It's the woman of integrity, of intelligence, of, the ability to play life like it's a game of chess. And we see that all the time we think Rand is alone and operating of his own free will, we also come to see that possibly the choices that lie before him are choices that have been offered up in his path by somebody who maybe is still pulling strings, but we're just not so aware of them.
He has to face some things, but he's not quite doing it yet. I feel like he's doing it in a way, but then also not. So he's trying to control the one power, which is a real thing for men, because every time you channel, you get closer to the madness. But then he's trying to control it in order to get rid of it. But that's not possible if you are the most powerful channeler of the world. So we find him in a place where he's far away from his friends, from anyone he knows, really. He's trying to stay a stranger, but he soon realizes that's not really possible.
We've definitely spent some time with Matt and Perrin thus far, but I want to talk to you, Ceara, first about Elayne, because she is brand new to the show this season, a major part in the books. She's definitely coming from a different viewpoint than some of the other characters as the daughter heir of Andor. How does having this character sort of royal upbringing, how does that affect her relationships with the other Aes Sedai novices or the Emond's Fielders?
I think it's a really interesting dynamic between them all, because it's probably the first time in Elayne's life that she is kind of being treated as an equal to the people around her, as much as maybe she expected to have special treatment. She just kind of expected that because that's just what her life has been thus far. So she's kind of in this situation of making new friends for the first time as well, because she didn't realize that was something that could coexist with being a queen, as having friends. So she's having all these new realizations, and then she's learning from these people around her, because I think she thought she knew it all, but she's being challenged by the likes of Egwene and Nynaeve, who are also really powerful, knowledgeable women. And it's just been amazing to kind of play that, them kind of teaching her so much about herself, but also her offering a different point of view and a different kind of look into what they might be battling with as well. So it's just been such a joy to kind of be that new energy this season.
Marcus, inside of Perrin, or inside of all of us, there are two wolves, but inside of Perrin, I'm curious, does he have that dog in him? What can we expect from him this season?
Yeah, I think what's quite cool in season one, he kind of obviously has a very kind of traumatic experience at the start and kind of spends a lot of the time kind of grieving with this overwhelming sense of guilt. But I think even though that's still very much there in season two, he's kind of just in completely different scenarios. He finds himself within season two kind of expose and kind of question his abilities and also his kind of ideology around violence and warfare and destruction. And I think he's starting to kind of understand that there's something within him that it might just be inevitable. And is that something that could be quite powerful, or is that something that will be, ultimately really destructive to him and the people around him?
This season is going to be a formative season for many of our characters. Lan, specifically, since I play him, I know him the best. He's an orphan. We know what happened. Malkier, his parents were murdered. He was raised by soldiers. He's never really had time to himself, aside from maybe when he was like a kid. But Moiraine's been there for a long time. This is his time to kind of figure it out, I think. So he's asking some questions, and he's leaning on his, warder friends, and you're learning about that culture. For season two, you're seeing that from Lan, his journey. Moiraine's very much on her own, and we have amazing stuff coming from Perrin and from Nynaeve and Egwene and everyone, and from Matt. Dónal's fantastic, and I can't wait for fans to see him.
I think you're going to love Dónal Finn's Matt Cauthon. I mean, I think he's just been such an asset to our show. He's got just Matt's charm down to a T, and also all his complexity. I really think people are going to love him.
One last question. I saw some photos of you with Matt's signature weapon, the quarterstaff. Will you ever be able to mop or sweep normally again, or do you automatically go into sweet Matt moves?
Do you know what, man? So in between seasons, I was back home, and I live on a farm, and oftentimes you're carrying around some kind of piece of like a stick to kind of help, usher the cattle from one place to another. And when no one's looking, I am like, I'm spinning it around and flipping it up my head and stuff, and just enjoying like what a class skill and the joy of like being given this opportunity where I get to learn those things. Like it's like, I'm sure there's a kid in me that is buzzed that like this is, you know, part of my job now, that I get to learn and kind of learn those skills and share them. Like it's a really special job. So yeah, I've really enjoyed getting stuck into the quarterstaff stuff with no spoilers.
Amazing. Well, folks, thank you so much. Congratulations again, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank
Not
you.
at all. Thank you
for
very
your
much.
time.